Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening from wherever you are joining in this world. I'm Saurav, Developer Community Manager here at Apify, and I welcome everyone to our latest webinar, New Ways to Monetize Actors. Uh, as the name suggests, we are going to talk about how you can monetize your actors at Apify. What are the various monetization models that we have? Uh, Paper usage, rentals, paper result, and the latest one, paper event, which we are going to deep dive into today. And we'll also talk about how you can implement paper event as a developer. What are the changes that we have bring into our SDK to support the paper event model? That is actor.charge basically. And then we'll also talk about how we are calculating your profits, your monthly payouts, and in the last of the webinar, we'll sneak peek into the tiered pricing, which is an upcoming feature through which you can grab enterprise customer through those pricing. You can target those enterprises. In the last 15 minutes of this webinar, we are dedicating it to an open Q&A session where you can ask any question about actor monetization or anything that we are going to talk about in this webinar. So if you have any question regarding all of these things, you can drop them right now into the comment section of YouTube. We'll pick each of your question, but in the last of the webinar. So be a little patient, and during the webinar also you can drop any question, and after the webinar too, obviously. So without wasting time, I would like to welcome Mate, the Senior Team Lead of Application Engineering at Apify. He will be leading today's webinar and introduce you to the pricing models of Apify. Mate, stage is all yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for introduction. So as you said, I'm Mate, lead of the team which is behind all the pricing models and monetized actors in the store. I welcome you today as well. So let's jump to it. Before we actually talked about the monetization itself, I would just like to spend a little bit of time on public actors in general and talk just a couple of points why it is beneficial to make your actor public and publish it in the store. Of course, first and foremost, it brings value to your users. If you solve a problem, there is a huge chance that somebody else is having the same problem, and by publishing your actor, you're actually helping to solve real-world problems users have. Once your actors are public, they also serve as a marketing channel for you. It helps you to build your brand, attract the customers, and basically make your name either as an individual or as a business. Then, last, but of course not least, it helps you to earn income, even passive income. Once the actor is up, yes, you need to maintain it a little bit time to time, but it is bringing the money in. So let's jump into the different models we have for monetization. There are three, so to speak, models we've had for a while. There is pay per usage, rental, and pay per result. Some of you might be actually familiar with these models. And then there is a fourth one, which is brand new. That's a pay per event. I would like to spend just a couple of minutes talking about the first three models before jumping into the pay per event, where we will spend the most of this webinar. So pay per usage model, so pay per usage actors, sometimes called as free actors, are actors which are public but are basically not monetized. When users run these actors, they pay for the platform usage. And platform usage is the compute, storage operations, traffic, residential proxy traffic, etc., etc. They pay these costs directly to the Apify. So from monetization perspective, either revenue or cost perspective, you are not involved. You do not receive any payouts from these actors. It is a great way to start out, build a brand for yourself, do some marketing, do some good. You can even open source your actors if open source is something you feel passionate about. Moving to actually monetize actors that do bring profits in. The first and historically the oldest monetization model is rental actors. When a user runs a rental actor, same as before, they still pay for the platform usage. They pay for the compute, for the storage operations, traffic, etc., etc. They pay the usage directly to the Apify, so you don't have to care about this at all. The only thing you do care about is the monthly flat fee they pay to you. Under this model, you can set a free trial, which can be anything from 0 days to, I think, up until a month or so. Then when a user wants to run your actor, they can run it for free. for this period of time. But then if they want to use it further, then they need to pay you flat monthly fee. For example, here for Facebook Post Scraper on the screen is $35 a month. That's your revenue, and that's actually your profit as well. More accurately, 80% of this is your profit, because Apify takes 20% margin to maintain and build the platform itself. Moving to the second monetization model we've had for a while, it's pay-per-result model. And there is a big difference between the rental and PPR. One similarity is that this is still a monetized model. It still brings a profit in. It differs mostly in the fact that there are no monthly fees. Any user can run your actor, there are no trials. And the users pay only for the results. They do not pay for the compute, storage operations, residential proxy traffic, just for the results. And they pay the price you set for the results. You set the price for 1,000 results. For example, here in the example, Instagram Scraper is priced at $30 per 1,000 results. So this is what they pay, and this is what they are charged for. Of course, when your users run the actor is still incurring costs in the platform usage, right? It is still burning some compute. It is running on the servers. There are still traffic operations, and somebody needs to cover these costs. It can be either Apify or you. For the paying users, it's you. So your revenue is what the users are charged when they're charged for the results, but your cost is what the runs actually consume in terms of compute, operation, traffic, etc., etc. Your profit here is basically revenue minus cost. Again, we take 20% margin from the revenue, so technically it is 80% of the revenue minus the costs associated with the runs of these actors. I hinted on it before. It is important to mention here that only users that are on paid Apify plans are considered in the profit calculations. When there are users without Apify subscription, usually without card in our system, using the Apify free trial that we have for free users, you do not gain revenue from these users, but you are also never charged the platform usage of their runs, so there is no cost component to your profit as well. Just to illustrate this on an example, let's say you price your actor at $1 per 1,000 results. For the sake of argument, let's say you've got 2 paying users and 1 free user. By paying, I mean on a paid plan, on a free plan without a subscription to the platform itself. And the paying users use your actor to get 20,000 and 50,000 results, respectively, and the free user uses it to download or get 10,000 results. We can basically ignore the free user here in the computation of the profit and just concentrate on the paying users. The paying users use the actors to download 70,000 results. At $1 per 1,000 results, that amounts to $70. That's your revenue. And the cost here, just for the sake of argument, is $7, 2 plus 5. What the cost would really be, you would see this in the platform itself, and I will also touch on it on the next slide. But let's say for the sake of argument, it's $7 here. Your profit in this case would be 80% of the revenue minus the cost, so 0.8 times 70 minus 7, which is $49. This is a value that you would see on your monthly payout. At the end of each month, the platform generates a payout invoice for you, which is kind of a bill that showing how much profit you earned during the last calendar month, and you would see this value there. So, as I mentioned before, how do you actually know what is the cost? How you can estimate the cost? So it's slightly tricky. It is trickier here than for rental actors. But what we advise always doing is to test your actors locally on the platform on your own account. You might have a creator plan, for example, with generous amount of like free usage for testing. Also, you can ping our support, or you can write on Discord to get extra resources for testing if you need to. And when you test your actor and run it out, ideally with various inputs, you will see how much usage it actually consumes in terms of compute, traffic, residential proxy traffic, etc., etc. And you will get this overview in the units of those usage components. So traffic will be in gigabytes and usage will be in compute units, for example. To get these estimates in dollars, you need to multiply this usage that you will see during your testing with the unit pricing. You need to know how much one CU costs, how much one gigabyte of traffic costs. And for that, you can use the table from our documentation. You also see the QR code on the screen. And this is, we call it developer pricing. So this is the unit pricing which is used when we are computing the cost for your PPR actors. The unit pricing for users when they run other types of actors might be different, depends on a subscription plan, but this is the developer pricing that will be used for the payout computation. So far I've touched on rental and PPR actors, two models we've had in the store for a while. So let's just pause here for a second to do a quick comparison before actually diving into the paper event. So on one side, rental actors are super simple for you. You don't need to care about the usage, you don't need to care about the profit margins, you will be always in positive numbers, so it is very simple to set up. That being said, the profits on rental actors are fairly limited because the user, even if a user runs your actor a lot and gets ton of value, ton of results if it is a scraping solution, you still get only that flat monthly fee. So it doesn't scale with the usage of the user. Also, this rental model from our experience might be confusing for users, which might actually deter them from using your actor, simply for the reason that they need to pay the usage itself to the Apify, and they need to pay the monthly flat fee also, which goes to you. Also, they need to have a paid Apify subscription if they want to use the actor after its free trial. So it is not great for the users, but it is very simple for you to start out. On the other hand, pay-per-result, it does scale with what your users do. If your users are actually using your actor a lot, generating a ton of value, your profit will grow. Also, it's super simple to understand for them. If you have a scraping solution, they see how much it costs them for 1,000 results, so they can really well estimate their costs beforehand, which is also important when your user is, for example, a different company, and there might be some company politics of this different company involved when they're actually budgeting how much they can spend on the project. If they can budget well, there is high likelihood that they will choose a solution where they can estimate the cost accurately. On the other side, it does involve more involvement on your side because you need to understand the usage patterns, and you need to the setting of the price is slightly more tricky. I will give some tips on setting the price at the end, so no need to actually go into more detail here. One thing I would like to mention though is that you can imagine that in the pay-per-result model, in theory, you can price your actor in a way that your revenue will be lower than your costs, in which case you will be in red numbers and your profit margin will be negative. You can rest assured that we actually never charge you any money. It is true that if you had multiple actors, if one ended up in positive numbers and the second ended up in negative numbers, those two might even out. We sum it, but the final amount on the payout, if it is negative, we do not charge you. You just don't earn any profit. It is always set to 0 in that case. And we do assume good faith that nobody is trying to game the platform, of course. So this was rental and PPR model. And before moving to PPE, I would like to talk briefly and touch on limitations of the pay-per-result, the most popular pricing model up to now, before introduction of PPE, to kind of help you understand why we created that PPE pricing model. So under PPR, we have observed there are a couple of problems with this pricing model, or limitations. The first one is cost variance. So maybe you also from your experience have observed that very often, very small short runs are actually more expensive for you per result than big runs. The reason being that when you start an actor, for example, if it is a scraping actor, it often needs to load a virtual browser. That takes some time. So just that startup takes time. And it is a time which happens before any results are generated. And that's time which you pay for without actually getting the revenue back in terms of results under PPR. On the other hand, when Actor is set up, it is running, and it is just spitting out results, the results are usually, the 1,000th results, it's much cheaper for you than the first result because that machine is already oiled and the Actor is running. Also, pay-per-result offers quite limited use cases. It has been mostly developed for scraping use cases when you need to return results and you need to return single type of the results. For example, if you have multiple types of results, such as you want to return Google places and sometimes also with the reviews, sometimes without the reviews, it is something that pay-per-result pricing model doesn't deal well with. Also, then another consideration is input consideration. So your costs in the Actor in terms of platform usage can depend on the input. For example, in the previous point with Google Maps, if the user wants the reviews for the Google Maps places, or if they don't want the reviews, it really kind of changes how the Actor operates and what the costs are. This is something which is very hard to deal with and capture under PPR. Also, the user might in theory provide invalid input. The Actor still starts. Since the input is invalid, you don't get any revenue because you do not return any data, but the Actor still started, so there is small, but there is some cost component that you need to cover in your payout. And last but not least, especially with the advent of OpenAI, LLMs, and kind of AI boom we've been seeing in the last 2 years or so, we've seen that people want to use external APIs, for example, AI APIs, but not only AI APIs, also some integration APIs in their Actors. And these charges happen outside of the Apify ecosystem. So you're always responsible for these charges. And under PPR pricing model, it's very hard to actually kind of resell this service and somehow move this charge to your end user. So for these reasons, we have developed a new pricing model called pay-per-event. The pay-per-event pricing model is in principle fairly similar to pay-per-result with one crucial difference. And the difference is that your users no longer pay for the results, but they pay for the events. An event can be anything. An event is charged directly from a source code. So you see one JavaScript line, actor.charge. This is how you actually invoke a charge for the event. You set up those events yourselves when you are setting up the pricing. You can set up to 20 different types of events, and you can charge any of them in any quantity. So example of events we have observed so far are these that you see on the screen. We have seen that some people want to charge fixed price per workflow. Let's say you're doing AI analysis and you want to fix $10 per the whole analysis. With PPR, you really couldn't do it easily. With PPE, it's just one-liner in your code. Also, you might want to charge for actually starting the Actor to mitigate this problem of very short and small runs actually costing you a lot compared to longer runs per result or per some unit of charge that you get. Also, some people, or you can set up events for generating results and sub-results. So now you can actually decide what different kinds of results you are offering, and you can charge differently for different combinations of them or different types of the results. You can charge for actions, some integration actions, automation actions, such as uploading things to the cloud, hitting external APIs, using LLMs. Those are all types of events now you can charge for. Or if you have some very special use case, you can also charge for example, for a minute of runtime or some number of megabytes of data that is transferred, processed, uploaded, etc., etc. So this is basically all there is about a PPE. You hit an endpoint, Actor charge, it does the charge, and that's it. That's your revenue. To illustrate how you can actually use it in a real code, I would like to first introduce the way via SDKs. we have TypeScript/JavaScript and Python SDK. You see the TypeScript on the left and Java and Python on the right. And here you see a complete examples of charging per results. Per events. Here in these examples, we are generating some dummy results, uploading them to a dataset and charging for all of them. This is the best way to use PPE, to use the SDKs. And there are a couple of reasons why. The first is the management of the max costs. As I will show later in the webinar, the user has an ability to set the maximum cost per run. So if they set it to $3, then your actor should never charge them more than $3. For some technical reasons, this is actually not handled on our side, on API side, and this state management and kind of guaranteeing that you do not overshoot this maximum cost set by the user needs to be done on the actor side. It is not rocket science, but it is also not trivial, and that's why it is wrapped in the SDKs. So when you use SDKs, it is guaranteed you never overshoot this number, this max number set by the user. Also, since we are hitting API here, this charging API, actor.charge, we never want the charges to be kind of done multiple times just because of network issues. So those calls needs to be idempotent, so they should happen exactly once, even in phase of network issues, outside of control of your control or Apify's control. And the SDK takes care of this. Also, the third benefit is that, as some of you might know, since Actor is running on some virtual machine in a cloud, those machines can die at any time for any reason, in which case the Actor is restarted on a different machine. And SDK makes, from charging perspective, this restart very, very seamless. It does remember the state, and it continues where it left from. So really, my recommendation here would be to use our SDKs in all situations where it is possible. Of course, there might be a use case that you have where it is not possible to use the SDK, namely if you want to build Actor in different language. And really, Actor is pretty much anything that can run in Docker container, so there might be valid use cases when you want to use something different from TypeScript or Python, in which case you would need to use our API directly. So this is the API endpoint. You see it on the screen, which you would be able to use in such a situation. Just bear in mind that those benefits I outlined on the previous slide would not apply here. And you would either have to decide that you are fine with not caring about, for example, idempotency or this management of maximum costs, or handling it yourself. Of course, you can ping us anytime, and we are happy to helping you and discussing with you what is the best way to proceed. Also, we are aware that some of you might have programs that have command line interface, and they would like to actorize those programs. So the way to actorize the such project is fairly simple. You just need to wrap it in Docker and kind of provide an actor interface for input and output. And now you can also add charging in such a situation, because you can actually call actor charge directly from command line, so directly from bash. One thing I would like to mention here, and it also applies to the previous example with directly hitting the API. When you are hitting the API directly or using this Apify actor charge CLI command, you need to provide a run token. So these can be only they can be only executed from a valid actor run on the platform. This token is the token the actor run is started from, and you get it in environment variable. So as I hinted previously, there is this concept of a maximum charge that the user can set. So I just want to quickly show you how it looks from the user perspective. So from the user perspective, there is run options when they are starting run, and for paper event actors, there is this maximum cost per run field. And they can either set it, or even if they don't set it, it is automatically set to the remaining platform usage. So if a user can spend $10 on the platform and they have already spent $8, we would set this to $2 because they cannot spend more than 10. And this is the part where SDK helps you manage this. If you wanted to manage this yourself, there is this actor max total charge USD environment variable, which you get on actor input. Sorry, not on input, but as an environment variable when the actor is started, so you can use that. Also, we understand that some users might set this maximum cost per run like super low. I mean, they cannot set 0 here into this form, but nothing really prevents them from setting 0.001 or some basically such a low number that your actor wouldn't be able to do anything. Let's say your actor charges $1 per start and 1 cent per every result generated. So then if a user tries to run the actor with maximum cost $0.50, it's kind of invalid run, right? Because you are charging $1 at the start of the actor, so your actor wouldn't do anything and you would probably exit early. So that's why you have an ability when you are setting up your pricing to actually set up the minimum number the user can input into this form. So you can, for example, say that the user cannot put less than $1 into this form. And it is called like minimum value for this maximum cost per run. There is this minimum maximum, which might be confusing, but I hope you get the point. You would do this in the actor monetization UI. When you go to the publication section, there is this publication monetization section. The section has been there for a while now. Now there is just third option when you are setting your pricing. There is a pay per event option. There you actually see a nice interactive form where you can set all the events. And also in the bottom part, there is this minimum for max cost per run I touched on the previous slide. So here I would just like to talk a bit more about what actually event constitutes, what makes an event. So there are 4 components to it. There is name, title, description, and price. The name is the technical name, and it is the name you would actually use in charging. So for example, here there is start-actor. So in your code, you would call actor.charge, and you would provide this event name. Then there is title and description, and those are user-facing attributes. So on the pricing page or of your actor, the user sees that the event has this title and this description. And of course, price is self-explanatory, and it is a price for a single event. Same as before, with other pricing models, there are certain rules on changing the pricing. So PPE fits seamlessly and works seamlessly with the other models. You can freely change the pricing models, you can freely change the prices via the same mechanism as before. The only rule is that you can only make 1 change in a month. And when you do a change, there is 14-day notice period for your customers until the change becomes effective. And this is solely because your customers might be relying on some pricing and they actually might be integrated with your actor. Their business might even depend on your actor. So it is fair to give them heads up if anything is changing. That being said, we know that for some changes of the pricing, which are strictly beneficial for the customer, for your customer, or they are not relevant to the pricing too much, it doesn't make sense to wait for 14 days. For example, if you are decreasing the price, your customers would be probably very happy if the price change happened immediately. Also, for example, here in pay per event, if you are changing description by fixing a typo, there is no reason why they should wait for 14 days and be notified about such a small change. It is not really relevant for them. That's why we're actually working on a tweak and improvement of this mechanism to allow you not to wait in such cases. This hasn't been released yet. So for the time being, please just, if you're making a change which you think should become effective right away, just ping us. But this is something that should land in a platform anytime soon. So up until now, we have covered what PPE is, how you set it up, and how you work with maximum total usage. And now I would like to move to the profit computation part, how you actually earn money on PPE. And as I said previously, PPE is fairly similar model to PPR. There is still revenue part and the cost part, and your profit is still 80% of the revenue minus the cost. The cost doesn't change, and how we compute the cost is exactly the same as how we do it for PPR. Under PPE, the underlying platform usage of the runs in terms of compute and residential proxies, that's the cost that you need to cover. The only thing which has changed is that the revenue is what your users are charged for the events and not for the results as it was with PPR. And same as before, the unit pricing for the usage costs is same, and you can find it in the documentation via the QR code provided earlier in the presentation. To illustrate this on an example, let's take these 3 users. 2 which are using your actor to generate 10 and 20 results and get some analysis, and 1 free user which uses your actor to get some results but without any analysis. For the sake of example, let's say your actor is providing some results, and then also optionally it can do further AI, it can run further AI analysis on the results. So again, as before, free users are ignored for profit computation. So we are only interested in paying users. The paying users used your actor to get 30 results, so that's 30 times 1, so $30 in revenue. And in total, they used your actor for 2 AI analysis, which is additional $20. So all in all, the revenue is $50. And the cost, let's say again, is $5. Those numbers are made up for the sake of the arguments. You would see them in the platform. So the profit would be 80% of those $50 minus the $5, so $35 in total. Again, you would see it on your monthly payout at the end of the month. I believe some of you might be already owners of some paper results actors, and now you might be thinking about actually migrating your actors to PPE to provide additional features, create a pricing which better fits your actor, for example, etc., etc. So I would like to just briefly touch on how you might do it easily. As I said before, when you are changing a pricing model of an actor, there is this 14-day notice period, and then the pricing switches, right? In contrast to previous pricing models, the PPE pricing does depend on the code itself, because you need to have this actor.charge pieces of the code in your code base. So what we would recommend is for that 14th day notice period before the pricing switches from PPR to PPE, to actually have a version, a build of an actor prepared and running as a latest, which can support both pricing models. That way, when the pricing switches, the actor will seamlessly start charging under PPE as compared to PPR. It is fairly simple to do using our SDK, either TypeScript or Python. You can do actor.getChargingManager, and it is an abstraction which gives you the information whether the running the actor is actually a paper event. So it is as simple as one if-else. If the actor is still PPR, you probably just want to push the dataset items. If it is PPE, you want to actually do some charges. Also, you can bear in mind that when a user starts the actor under PPR pricing model, that run will finish under the same pricing model as it started. So these changes do not happen mid-run for a single run of an actor, so it is all consistent. Also, as I said, I recommend building your latest build to support this during the transition period. Also, it is important to remove the old builds, just to prevent people from actually using old build for an actor which didn't have these actor.charge events, just to minimize the chance that something will go wrong. So this is how you migrate. Next question you might have, and a topic I would like to touch on, is how you do local development, right? When you actually work with actor locally, there is no notion of PPE runs, right? You just run your actor locally. And if you use the SDKs, there are environment variables you can set locally, and they are called actor test paper event. And if you use the JavaScript SDK, also actor use charging log dataset. There are two in TypeScript JavaScript. These two have been merged to one in Python. I recommend setting all these environment variables true locally. And what it does is it tells the SDK that the actor is running in PPE mode, so those charges actually happen locally. Of course, do not worry, nobody is charged. You should just see this as a debug logs, and also you will see these charges stored in a temporary local dataset, so you can actually explore how much the actor would have charged for a specific run. So that's all. You use the SDK, set up these environment variables, and then you can inspect the charges locally. Now, in the final part of this, in the final kind of section of this part on PPE of the webinar, I would like to move on to some best practices when working with paper event actors and developing paper event actors. So first and foremost, I really recommend defining clear events. It is good to tie these events to tangible artifacts, basically something that your user understands. If your actor is producing a result, you can charge for that result. If it is doing some analysis, which is easy to describe, you can charge for the whole analysis. It just makes it easier for users to understand what they are charged for. Quite often, it is also good to tie the events to input schema, so the users get good sense what they would be charged for based on the input combination they enter. As I said before, we currently limit the number of events you can set, of types of events you can set on the actor to 20. But of course, it is good to set the number of events on your actor as low as possible within reason. The lower the number, the easier it is for users to understand what your actor actually does. Of course, there are situations where you actually need to use large number of events, so feel free to do that. Up to 20, everything is supported. Just keep that in mind. Also, bear in mind that the user can choose to run actor with different memory limits, and what it causes is that the container in which the actor runs is started with, let's say, 1 GB of memory or 4 GB of memory. Since the user doesn't pay for the compute, you cover the compute as a developer, the user pay only for the events, the memory that the actor is started with can actually change the compute costs that you would need to cover. The higher the memory, the bigger the container, the more kind of compute usage costs it generates, the higher the cost for you. That's why you can set the memory limit in actor JSON, and you can tell your users that they are only allowed to run your actor with, let's say, 1 GB of memory or 1 to 3 GB of memory or whatever you want to. As for some pricing tips when you're developing your actor, as I touched on before, it is always good to understand your costs and test your pricing beforehand. So do some local runs to see how many events different runs generate, and also run the actor under the platform. There you see how much actually compute and traffic and residential proxy traffic, etc., it consumes in the raw numbers, and use that unit cost pricing available via the QR code before to convert this to dollars to get a sense how much different runs cost you. This would aid you in setting up the pricing. Of course, the final pricing is up to you. Also, we have seen that people very often use this combination of actor start and dataset push for scraping solutions, which is basically very similar to paper result operation, but it also, by covering actor start, you are shielding yourselves from these very small, very short runs, which, for example, return only a single result. If you are building an integration actor or maybe AI actor using some LLM functionality, for example, ChatGPT, etc., Claude, you can account for external API costs. Either you can charge per call to that service, maybe you can charge for tokens when you are using LLMs, or any unit you devise. And also, finally, when you are setting up the pricing, it is not just about your costs. It is also about the value you provide. So really do think about what value your actor is actually providing, how it stands compared to your competitors, and very often you might find that in your situation, the value is actually much, much, much bigger than your costs, and you can set aggressive profit margin. Related to the pricing is also a question of how to deal with free users in the face of external costs. By external costs here, I mean costs that are external to Apify. For example, if you use Open AI API to use ChatGPT in some AI agent actor you might be building. If you have no external costs, you are okay because free users are completely ignored for profit computation, as I talked about before. However, if you do have external costs, bear in mind that in those cases, you are kind of covering those external costs both for free users and for paying users, as we in Apify have no way of controlling the external costs with external integrations and APIs. So in such cases, it is good to use our user's me endpoint you see on the screen to get information about the user, which is running your actor. You do this from the actor run itself. And there is a component which says is paying or is paying user. That's how you know if the user is free or no, and you can actually decide what kind of service you want to provide for free users. So in face of external costs, you can actually decide to limit their service. For example, by not providing any results at all, providing limited number of results, or maybe you have some example free results which are cached on your side. So you have this at your disposal. So think about it, how you want to act in this situation. And finally, I invite you to check the actors we already do have in the store. When you go to the store page, there is this filter. You can choose pay per event to get an idea what kind of PPE actors people have been developing so far. You might see that a lot of them are AI agents, because this model is especially suited for developing AI agents, as you can charge for any types of the events. Last but not least, we invite you to promote your actor as much as possible. I will not go into the details here, but you can use the QR code and read our actor marketing playbook, which lists useful tips where and how you can market your actor to get as much users as possible, hence as much profit as possible. So here we are coming to an end to the paper event section of the webinar. Feel free to ask any questions if you have them, and we will answer them at the very end. And finally, I would like to just touch and give you a sneak peek of a feature we are developing called tiered pricing. So with Paper Event, we have solved a couple of problems with, for example, that you can do automation actors and it scales with runs. But it still does have limitations. And one of the primary limitations is the question of scalability. And here by scalability, I mean that your runs or your actors will be and are very likely very expensive for big users, and they are very cheap for free users. Since you can set only a single price on your actor, let's say under PPR or PPE, doesn't matter, that price will very likely be expensive for the big users. And there is actually currently no way to provide volume discounts or to provide better pricing for users that are big, pay a lot, and use your actor a lot. So that's why you probably set your price like somewhere in the middle, so it is acceptable for everybody, for free people that want to try it out, but also for bigger customers that want to actually use it aggressively. As you can imagine, this is not great, and we would like to solve this problem. And we are solving it with a so-called tiered actor pricing. It will work in a way that you will be able to set multiple pricings for different sorts of users. It will be tied to subscription plans, to Apify subscription plans. So you will have a chance to say that if a user on, let's say, small starter plan is running the actor, the unit prices should be quite high. If it is on free plan, they should be even higher. But if there is a user on business plan, like a large business plan, running the actor, the unit prices for your actor should be actually much cheaper for events or for results. And for maybe enterprise level users, they should be even cheaper. So for your users, from their perspective, the better subscription plan they have, the cheaper actors they have in the store. Of course, to kind of make this also beneficial for you, apart from the fact that this way you will attract bigger customers, we will give you progressively cheaper unit platform usage pricing for the tiers. So if a user on, let's say, big business plan runs your actor, you need to cover the usage costs of that run, compute, traffic, etc. But the unit pricing for those costs will be lower for you than they would be in a case when a user on small starter plan would be running your actor. So there is a benefit both for you and your users. This is a feature we have in active development, so stay tuned and we will certainly let you know once it is available. I just want to reassure you that this will be, of course, opt-in, so you will be able to decide that you do not want to have your pricing defined in this way and you want to provide a single price, and that's fine. But for those of you that actually want to optimize your price and attract big customers, you will be able to use this mechanism in the future. And with this, I would like to give word back to Sarah. Sarah, are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you. Thank you so much, Mate, for the amazing presentation. I hope it answered many questions. So we are moving to the final part of the webinar, and it's a Q&A. Before introducing you to Discord and everything, I would like to mention again, if you have any question regarding anything during the webinar or anything regarding our pricing, monetization models, maybe tiered pricing, you have some doubts, you can drop them right now. This is the time to ask the questions directly to Mate, and he will answer. He will try to answer every question of yours. So before moving to the Q&A part, I would like to invite you all to our Discord community. We have more than 10,000 developers finally in our Discord server. There are channels specially for answering your queries. There are channel for especially for Crawley. There is channel for especially for Apify platform, and there is a special channel where you can connect with every developer who is building actors on our actor on our platform. You can ask fellow developers question. I will be there. Our team will be there to answer your questions. So we'll try to help in any problem that you are having regarding our platform. And you can also talk about in general web scraping and things. We also do such small Discord calls on our Discord server, so you can get connected on different topics. We have giveaways, so you can win some exclusive Apify and Crawley merch if you are in our server. So please join. The link is apify.com/discord. And if you want to listen to more such webinars, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, and you'll get notified about the upcoming webinars that we are planning. So yes, moving to the final part. Yes, so make your PP actor now. Made have explained everything about it, and we have a special promotion going on for our developer community. We'll charge you 0% will not deduct anything on from your profits for the first 6 months of your actor life until April 31st. So if you are developing a new actor on Apify and you are choosing PP as the pricing model for your actor, we'll charge 0% commission on the on your earnings for the first 6 months of actor life if it is built until April 31st. So please, you are more than welcome to build it. Ask us any question in the Discord. We'll more than happy to help you. And yes, let's start with the Q&A session. I see there are a few questions already. So maybe let's start with the first one. It's from Augias. Just a minute. I'll just click on the question. Yeah, it's from Augias, and they say what I could really do with is discounts on multiple rentals of related scrapers. It's a little confusing to me. Do you understand, Mate, what it means?
Can you just repeat the question for me, please?
Yes, they say what I could really do with is discounts on multiple rentals of related scrapers. Now I get it.
I don't think I understand the question very well. So
Okay.
I will try to
Yeah.
rephrase the question. Like, what you can do with discounts on the rentals of multiple
On
actors?
multiple rentals of related scrapers. So they want some discount for related scrapers on
I
multiple
think,
rentals. So for example, one scraper of
mhm.
LinkedIn is covering something and one is covering
Yeah, like
something.
I can imagine, like for example, for social media, right?
Yep.
So I think in this case, it varies. It really depends what the actors are, I mean, the rental actors are, because they might be developed all in house, but they might be also developed by the creator themselves, right? By different creators, if it is different actors. So I think the best course here would be actually to write on Discord or contact us, and we can try to help solve this like specific situation because it can really vary.
Yeah, he also added, I have two Spotify crawlers. I want to charge $8 for two.
Oh, I see. So it is from the other side. That's
Yeah.
currently not possible. So if you have two actors, you cannot really hide them behind a single pricing. Of course, what you can do, you can build two actors, and you can have like one actor call the other actor. So one would be like the main actor that the user is calling, and that actor can use other actors under the hood via the apify.call command from the code. But it is not possible to create a bunch of actors and sell them as one thing under single pricing yet. This is something we have been discussing, and we might put it on the roadmap, but not in the foreseeable future.
Thank you. There is one question from Bakesh. Welcome back, Bakesh. How does the pay per event pricing model specifically benefit small scale developers? And what measures has Apify implemented to ensure that this model supports their profitability?
Ah, so,
That's a good one.
so yeah, it is. This is a good one. So let me think on this. I think the kind of the PPE model is not like specifically tailored to small scale developers, but it is a model providing the most flexibility, and it is also the model providing the best opportunity to actually build actors which are not just scraping actors, and it is providing the kind of same opportunities for anyone. Of course, if somebody doesn't want to dedicate or cannot dedicate a lot of time and a lot of kind of time to set the pricing, try out your actor, understand the costs, both the PPR and the PPE pricing model is probably not the best, and maybe the rental would be a good pricing model just to start with, but it does have a lot of limitations. So I would say if somebody wants to earn or tries to actually earn a serious profit on the actors, I would really recommend using the PPR or the PPE if the PPR doesn't fit the use case, for example, AI use cases, integration use cases, etc., etc. And I would recommend this regardless of whether this is a small developer just starting out or large developer. We do not discriminate here.
Thank you. Maybe you want to also mention the fraudster problem that can be solved from PP, and many of developers are having it, like the one result run.
Yeah. So we this is partially related to the fraudsters and partially to like misconfigured inputs, for example. But there are these cases where people might even like maliciously or just by mistake actually run the actor in a fashion that doesn't produce results. And since the actor starts, there is some cost for the developer. In such case, for example, charging for actor start is like super useful because that can be the first thing the actor does when it spins, regardless of who is running it and how much results it generates in the future.
Thank you. There's one more question from Bagesh. Again, it's on the same tone. Which pricing model is the best? Why Apify is adding so many pricing models? It makes things confusing for developers.
Yeah, I can relate to this. So there is no best pricing model. It really depends on your kind of use case. And why we are adding, and we hope we will not add any further pricing models in the future. If anything, we try to merge pricing models in the future. So as you might as might be obvious, the PPR and PPE pricing models are fairly similar. Just PPE actually allows you to do more things, right? But in theory, if you set up your PPE actor, which charges only for the result, that's equivalent only for kind of pushing to the dataset, it is equivalent for PPR. So actually, I do understand, and we are having this discussion internally that like it might be complicated for the end users, and a lot of them might be confused. So we are actually thinking about merging the paper result and paper event pricing model just to make it simpler for the users, and nothing would change much for the developers because we might be even able to automatically kind of make it backwards compatible for all the actors. So this is a discussion we have. And then there's this question what to do about the rental model, of course, because it is fairly different. And we have seen that a lot of entry-level developers actually, like, despite the fact that it doesn't lead to large profits, they might be comfortable using it because it's very, very quick to set up. So it is a good question, and we are actually actively working and thinking about how to simplify this for the end users as well. But that being said, pay-per-result model was not kind of feasible for all the use cases, and with AI Wave and with kind of integrations being more important and chaining actors and different services being increasingly more important in every aspect, we had to kind of grow beyond PPR.
Thank you. There are more questions from audience, but I will take them later if we don't have more. There's one question
Sure.
from Mateo. Sorry if I'm pronouncing it wrong, but yeah, if I am a free user and I run my own PPE actor with no priced events, do I run my actor completely for free with no limit?
So if you are running your own actor, you are always paying for usage. So that's the same as with PPR. So it doesn't matter like what the pricing model is of your own actor, you only always pay for the compute and traffic, etc., etc.
But I think he asked for if he is a free user. Okay,
And
okay. Sorry.
but running their own actor.
Got
Yeah,
it, got it.
that doesn't matter if you are free or subscribed user. Like you always pay for the actual usage, not for events or the results.
Perfect. One more from him. If a large number of users run my actor, then invokes other actors, is there a risk of running out of memory or facing other limitations? Those other actors will be executed under my account, right?
So there is a risk of running out of memory if you run a lot of actors simultaneously, but the actors are not executed under your account. The actors are started under the account of the users. They do pay you, and you get the charges. I mean, but it is not running physically under your account.
Thank you. One question from Muhammad. Welcome, Muhammad. Will it be possible to edit the minimum for maxed cost per run value with actor.json? It doesn't seem good to wait 14 days to change this value.
So it is currently not possible to change it in actor.json. And that's because it is part of kind of pricing configuration, and pricing configuration is set up on actor level, not build level. That's why it is not possible to set it from code directly. we might kind of improve on this in the future. It is not possible right now. As for not waiting 14 days to actually change this value, I agree. And that's why we are actually introducing this mechanism that if a pricing change is such that it is not making your user worse off, so it's not a basically the price increase or pricing model change, like significant change, there will be no waiting period, this 14-day waiting period for them. This is currently in development, so stay tuned. It is not released yet.
Yeah, thank you. Also, I would like to mention, you can always make your case in Discord. I will check with Mate and other team members if we can skip the 14 days period to some smaller period of time. So you can message me meanwhile we are building that new feature. So yeah, if you are currently having this problem with your actor, just DM me the details and I'll see how we can do this.
Yeah, yeah.
One question from Gopala Krishnan. From my understanding, if we use monthly rental actors inside AI and other agents, end users have to rent them in order to access them, right? That
Yes.
might be costlier for a few runs.
Might be costlier for.
Few runs. For
Yeah,
example, if someone
yeah,
is just making one run or two run.
yeah. I agree. It is sadly it is the current limitation of the system, and we are thinking about ways how to improve this. That's why I'm primarily advising you to build the PPE actors or PPR actors. They are very similar because they do not have this problem of integrations, right? They are much easier to integrate because anybody can run them anytime on free plan, on subscription plan. So they are just easier to integrate.
He adds that, for example, a company report agent, actually Gopala is one of the participants of
Mm-hmm.
AI Agent Hackathon,
Mm-hmm.
and he created a company report agent. So he's having problems with it. So he's asking you now. For example, a company report agent might use a monthly rental actor for a Crunchbase scraper. Then they have to rent it too.
I I don't hear you, Sarah.
Can you hear me now?
Now, yeah, now I can hear you.
Okay, okay,
We
sorry.
apologize. Just the internet went down for a bit.
Yeah, he adds that, for example, a company report agent might use a monthly rental actor for Crunchbase scraper. Then they have to rent it too, right?
Unfortunately, yes, at the moment.
But we are working to improve this.
We are trying to come up with a solution. What is the best way forward? It is a known limitation.
Thank you. There is one more or two more comments slash question from Augias. I'll take that and then we'll finish. We are over 6 minutes already. So, Augias said, users of my Spotify crawler keep insisting on making request one act at a time. So there are several wasteful auth requests compared to chunking them, makes PPU expensive.
Makes PPU
Yeah,
expensive.
uh,
So,
yes.
uh, if I understand the question correctly, there are a lot of users kind of using Actor in a fashion that it only generates like a handful of results, probably just one result every time, right? So in such a case, I would really recommend charging for Actor Start. So basically, also charging for each run, and that will motivate the people to use the Actor in a fashion that they get more results simultaneously.
Yep. So I think that was all of the questions. So, yep. Thank you for the questions, and I think it's time to end. I will drop some links into the comment section, and thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Thank you, Mate, for taking time and coming in front of community to answer every question.
Thank you for joining and inviting me.
I really hope this all of these things will really help developers. They were asking it from very long time. So yeah, thank you so much everyone for joining. If you have any still have any questions that you have in mind, I will be active on Discord. Our team will be active on Discord, so please join them or visit our documentations. Both of the links are in the comment section of YouTube. And have a good day, good evening, or good night. And thank you so much for joining.
Thank you. Bye bye.